This is it, the series finale of WandaVision. Are all of our theories accurate? Gotta watch to find out. Can't wait to see who Evan Peters is playing. Wait, what? The episode begins where we left off, with Wanda confronting Agatha, who has the twins captured on leashes. Wanda's face shows concern as she blasts Agatha, letting us know that her powers are working again. However, Agatha seems to be counting on this, and absorbs Wanda's chaos magic. The twins are free as Wanda sends them inside to hide. The confrontation ends with Wanda striking Agatha with the car. As Wanda looks for her body, the episode pays its first homage to the Wizard of Oz. Wanda turns to see White Vision, who she believes is her vision. However, he attempts to crush Wanda's head, but just before he can, Hex Vision swoops in to save her. During this sequence, we see that White Vision is also voiced by Paul Bettany, meaning that this is not James Spader's Ultron Reborn that we originally assumed that it might be. This is actually a good time to bring up that this episode subverts our expectations. This being an MCU show, we have an idea about how this series was supposed to play out. Mephisto, Ultron, the multiverse, Doctor Strange. We got none of these things, and it's okay. I really don't mind at all. This series ended up being a lot smaller than we originally expected it to be. We catch up with Monica and find her trapped in an attic with Pietro as he watches the battle raging outside as the two visions clash. White Vision, aka Vision for right now, says that Wanda Maximoff must be destroyed. This battle is actually really cool, because we get to see the two visions battle using the full scope of their abilities. Phasing, density shifting, and laser blasts. The effects are great. It's actually very similar to a battle of intangibility that Vision has in the Vision and Scarlet Witch comic series. The Vision even attempts to savagely end the battle early by going straight for Hex Vision's Mind Stone, Thanos style. It's actually pretty amazing. Outside the Hex, Jimmy Woo was somehow captured? I find this a little jarring because the last time we saw him, he was with Monica's group of loyal sword agents, and now here he is, captured. Hayward continues to show that he is the scummiest of the scums. However, he's a fool, because he should know that Jimmy Woo cannot be held captive. Using his own brand of powerful magic, Jimmy is able to escape his cuffs and call for FBI reinforcements. Agatha appears as she reveals what we correctly assumed was the Darkhold, aka the Book of the Damned, with a whole chapter devoted to the Scarlet Witch. Wanda tells Agatha that she is no witch. She was taught no spells, but the Scarlet Witch is not born, she's forged. With no need for coven or incantation, the Scarlet Witch's power exceeds the power of the Sorcerer Supreme, which we know is currently Stephen Strange. This show does a great job at power scaling Wanda. It basically lets you know her strength at the moment by comparing her to the other strongest Avengers, like Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange. Our theories continue to unravel as Agatha releases Dottie from Wanda's control, as she reveals her name is Sarah, as she pleads with Wanda to let her daughter out of her room and write her into the show. That's pretty messed up, but at least now we know where the kids are confirmed, I guess? Agatha tries to break down Wanda's psyche by releasing the entire town and dangling them in front of Wanda, as the citizens corner Wanda with anger in their eyes. Cut back to Monica as we discover the identity of Pietro, who is finally revealed to be Ralph Boner? Wait, what? All of that build-up for a boner joke? I mean, I don't mind the reveal of Pietro being no one, but I thought this was a bit much and very lowbrow for a series full of quality dialogue. Agatha moved into Ralph's house so she could be next to Wanda, but kept Ralph in the attic. Monica uses her powers to discover that Agatha has been controlling Ralph through his necklace, and then we never see him again. Yep, all of the build-up for Ralph and Pietro, and he's gone in a whimper. The people of Westview confront Wanda, detailing what they have been through. They have Wanda's nightmares. They feel her pain. They beg her to let them go. But Wanda is overwhelmed by emotion and begins strangling them all. Agatha continues to play on Wanda's fragile emotion as she tells her heroes don't torture people. And here is where we realize that the show's true antagonist is actually Wanda. She meant well, but she's been torturing these people for days on end. Agatha may have been messing with Wanda for personal gain, but what Wanda did was a lot worse and affected so many people. Finally seeing the error in her ways, she opens a piece of the hex as she tells the citizens of Westview to leave. However, this also gives Hayward and his agents a way in. The two Visions continue to fight, but the closer Hex Vision gets to the opening, the weaker he becomes. Vision falls and the boys arrive on the scene, but the opening in the hex begins to break them apart as well, which is actually cool because it's identical to the image from House of M that I referenced in my last video. Wanda sees this and closes the hex again, as the family regroups and prepares to fight, this shot being very reminiscent of The Incredibles. Vision and Vision continue their battle as they fly into the library. Vision says his prime directive is to destroy the Vision, leading Hex Vision to choose a new approach to battle: philosophy. As they use the thought experiment of the ship Theseus, they describe which is the real Vision, as Hex Vision realizes that Vision still has his memories, just locked away. Hex Vision unlocks them, and they begin to mimic each other. Vision exclaims that he is the Vision, and flies away, right out of the episode. As the Sword Agents approach Wanda, Agatha tells her that there will always be torches and pitchforks for people like them, no matter the century. Wanda tells the boys to handle the military while she flies off to take on Agatha. Tommy and Billy make short work of the soldiers as Hayward jumps out and is straight up about to shoot the kids. Like, damn, Hayward, you have no chill, dude. That is crazy. Luckily, Monica jumps in front of the kids to take the hits, discovering a new ability, as her body absorbs the bullets and apparently steals their kinetic energy as they fall to the ground, with Billy catching the one that didn't hit her. Hayward attempts to get away, but Darcy slams into his vehicle. This is actually really interesting because this is the third color we've seen Monica use in relation to her powers. There was the purple when she's able to see magic. There's the blue when she took on Wanda, and now this is yellow, which I think is really cool. It's almost very similar to the way that Halo kind of uses her powers in the Young Justice cartoon. Different color representing a different ability that she has. Wanda then sneaks up on Agatha and messes with her mind, sending her back to that night in Salem when she killed her coven. Wanda tells Agatha they are nothing alike because Agatha chose to do this. Just then, the Dead Witches come alive and attack Wanda, exclaiming that she is the Scarlet Witch, so this kind of backfired on her. They tie her to the stake as Agatha tries to get her to give up her power. A red crown appears on Wanda's head as she blasts the witches, and Football tackles Agatha. Wanda and Agatha then fly up and start blasting each other, in a fight that looks like something straight out of Dragon Ball Z. Wanda unleashes a flurry of chaos magic at Agatha. Some blasts are absorbed by Agatha, while others miss. Agatha then siphons off Wanda's magic, but is unable to use it, because Wanda has pulled the ultimate reverse Uno move. She placed runes on the walls of the hex, and now Agatha is unable to use her own magic. Wanda reabsorbs her magic, and fully embraces her destiny. She is now the Scarlet Witch, appearing in the costume I pointed out last week. They both land and Agatha is defeated. Wanda sends her to the role she chose, Agnes, the nosy neighbor. She tells Wanda that she will need her, but Wanda knows where to find her if that time comes. I personally love this because, one, Agatha is kept alive for future use in the MCU, and it is even hinted that she will have a role similar to her comic counterpart where Wanda may come to her for help or training. Plus, I loved Kathryn Hahn in this series, and I think she performed brilliantly as both Agnes and Agatha. People may view Agatha as the main antagonist of the show, but she was merely a glitch in the program, with the true villain being Wanda herself. Vision tells Wanda he knows she will set things right, just not for them, as the hex begins to shrink and the family returns home. Wanda and Vision tuck the boys in and say one final goodnight, as Wanda thanks them for choosing her to be their mother. Wanda and Vision head to the living room as the hex approaches. They give a heartfelt goodbye, and Vision questions what he is, and Wanda finally tells him. He is the part of the Mind Stone that lives inside of her. Her sadness, her hope, but mostly, her love. Vision exclaims that they have said goodbye before, so it stands to reason that they will say hello again. And with that, the hex is gone. Westview has returned to normal New Jersey, and we find Wanda alone in the empty lot. She makes her way to the center of town, and as she walks, the people stare at her hatefully. Monica empathizes with Wanda and tries to justify her actions by saying she would have done the same thing to bring her mother back. Wanda tells Monica that she does not understand her new powers, but she will. As she flies off, she takes one last look at Westview as the series concludes. But since this is a Marvel show, there are post-credit scenes, and in the first one we see that Jimmy leads the cleanup crew, and Monica is summoned by an agent to the theater. This agent reveals her identity as a Skrull, and tells her a friend of Monica's mother sent her, and that he wants to meet her in space. This person is most likely Nick Fury, and will likely set up the events of Captain Marvel 2. I mean, we know from Spider-Man Far From Home, which takes place long after this, that Nick Fury was in space with the Skrulls, so it's most likely him that Monica goes to meet. The second post-credit scene finds Wanda sitting on the steps of a secluded cabin in the mountains. Is this potentially Wundagore Mountain from the comic books, the place where Wanda and Pietro were born? As Wanda heads inside to pour herself some tea, we are shown the back room where we see Wanda in her astral form studying the Darkhold when she hears Billy calling for her to help. Cut to black. Now, I plan on doing a full series review, but I feel like this episode was actually the perfect ending for Wanda's story in the series. Because let's be honest, this was not a multiversal, reality-warping Easter egg fest we thought it would be. Instead, we received a well-crafted character study of love, loss, and grief. We expected the grandiose, but I was pleasantly surprised by how personal and small this story was. This was an origin story. The origin of the Scarlet Witch. I will say that this episode suffered from pacing issues. Characters appear, do a thing, and just never show up again. Darcy is there for 3 seconds, and is never seen again, after being a major B character for the entire series. And the Ralph Boner bit is a little too much for me as well. So where does the MCU go from here? The show may have appeared to be lacking in terms of big shocking reveals that will impact the larger MCU, but I feel like just the reveal of the Scarlet Witch is enough, because I think Wanda is going to be a main player in Phase 4. In the post-credit scene, we also hear Billy call Wanda to save him and Tommy. The last time we saw the twins, they were falling asleep. Is it possible Nightmare was freed and he took the kids while they were sleeping? If there's one thing I know, it's that we'll find out soon, because the Scarlet Witch will return in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And with that, we are at the end of WandaVision, but there's plenty of MCU content still to come as we prepare for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and throw me a like as well. I'll see you next time.